the nickname. And pretty much my birthday was March 17th, 1990. Right now I'm a current student at Centennial College doing business entrepreneurship. And yeah, I currently work 2 jobs as well, pushing, always gotta keep busy. And today, before I get into this, I just want to say like the amount of gifts that God has given me, you know. I can act, dance, sing, write, rap, beatbox, produce music, I do spoken word, I do miming, and I also do a little bit of DJing. That's 10 gifts that God has given me. Oh yeah, and I do cooking, you're right! And baking, that's 12! Just like 12 disciples. Yeah, you know, I gave her a couple of baking tips and we baked some, what was it, sponge cake? Yeah, we make some sponge cake. So it's been really, really good, you know. Yeah, I do 12 things. I didn't realize that. Thank you. God has given me these 12 things and I try to utilize them all the time. You know what? I'm just gonna fix this. It's not fair that I'm facing behind you guys. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so my thing that I want to be really emphasizing today is life is a challenge. We all go through challenges through life. Whether you're a baby, as a baby, well, your challenge is to talk. You want to be able to say, Mom, I want milk, you know, but you have to say, wah, you know, in order to tell the parents, hey, I want milk. As children, it's a challenge to listen, you know, your parents say to do something, you go right the opposite way and you just do that something you're not supposed to do, you know? As teenagers, it's a challenge for being able to have friends and maintain your friends and everything and the relationships you have with your friends. As adults, it's a challenge to be able to support your family and be able to build that family relationship. And as you get to the elder stage, the gracefully aged stage, it's a challenge to keep busy and still spend time with your family and loved ones. Now, everybody has challenges, and those are just some of the many challenges that we all go through in life. My question is, what challenges are you facing right now that makes you want to give up? Now, challenges are not a bad thing, they're a good thing, because it's through challenges that it helps shape and mold your character to help you to become who you are. My challenge started actually when I was born. My mother actually passed away giving birth to me. And the reason why that happened was because her doctor that usually gives birth for her, because she's had like many kids before me, he actually was on vacation. So we had this next doctor, and this doctor didn't know the plan that the other doctor had. So the doctor was like, okay, well, it's either your life or your son's life. You have to choose one. And she chose my life over her life. And I'm very blessed to be alive, you know, and there was a cost. There was a cost to having me, you know, and not only did it cost her life, but it also cost a relationship with the rest of my family members because they're heartbroken, and her friends as well, you know, and I pretty much had to live with that. So, but the one thing that I remember was in John 15 verse 13, where it's like, greater love has no one than this, to give their life for a friend's life. And I believe that that's the greatest love I ever received. That's the greatest gift I ever received in my life. And I'm very blessed and very grateful to be alive and to be able to see everyone and even speak right now. This is an amazing opportunity. Now, life is a challenge. You're gonna hear me keep saying that throughout this night a couple of times, because I really want you to understand that life is a challenge. We all go through challenges. The challenge that you go through may not be easy, but it's not defeating you. That's the important part. Now, my aunt, she came down from Trinidad and Tobago straight down there to come and take care of myself, my sister, and my brother. I have 4 sisters and 2 brothers on my mom's side, and 1 brother and 1 sister on my dad's side. So she's only taking care of 3 out of I'm not good at math just yet. But, continue. When she took care of us, she pretty much instilled in my heart God, discipline, and love. Now, I'll break those down. With God, she pretty much she made me, my brother and I, my sister and I, went to church every single Sunday. Like, every single Sunday. And if you can even convince her not to go to church. You can't even say, I'm too tired, You can't even say, I'm not waking out of bed. No, it's not that. You had to go to church. It was just a must. So, I was like, because I was a child and that it was my weekends. And on the weekdays, she would put on the TV in my room, and all of a sudden you're seeing John Hickey, Benny Hinn, every single morning before I went to school. So it was really instilled on me. I was catching a sermon first thing before going to school every morning. So I was blessed still. I was kind of listening and kind of not listening because I was just a child, and I was just like, my mind was all over the place. Discipline, if I didn't listen as a child, she would get the belt. If I did something wrong, she would get the belt. And if my brother did something wrong, he would go to me and say, yo, take the licks, or else I'm gonna beat you up for a week. I'm like, okay, so I took the belt. And that wasn't a bad thing, actually. It was actually a good thing. I know it doesn't happen now, because the new generation and everything's done differently. But it was a good thing because that was pain temporarily for discipline that will last a lifetime. That's what I received, I learned that she loved me, and she told me that, sorry, I'm trying to look at my thing too. This doesn't, wait, hold on, let me actually just take my time for a second. She told me that she does it, so I won't make the same mistakes or similar mistakes another time. And that's the reason why she did it, and it was all out of love, And she taught me tough love. That was what I received from her. And I was grateful. I was really grateful. It actually made me stronger, man. I actually have so much self-discipline now, more than ever, and more than anyone in my family. And it's just by God's grace. Now, my aunt actually passed away in the year 2000 when I was 10 years old. And my grandma actually passed away 2 months after that because she was stressed about her daughter passing away. So it was a lot going on as a 10-year-old to be experiencing that, and then knowing that my mother gave birth and she died giving birth to me. So it really, really impacted me. And I don't really tell a lot of people my story, and that's because I wasn't really comfortable, as per se, but now I'm starting to get comfortable. God is like, I don't know, he's just doing some new thing, metamorphosis stage in me right now. I'm gonna be like a butterfly and fly just now. I can see it. And I'm loving the fact that it's still life, and there's still challenges you're gonna go through, but God is with you every step of the way. Life is a challenge. Now, there's no challenge too great for God to handle, and there's no challenge too great that he wouldn't put on our backs to be able to handle. So the question may have came up in your minds for some of you, where's my dad in this picture? Yeah. So, well, my dad, when I was little, my dad would visit every here and there, take me to McDonald's, and there's times when I was just happy, but there's times when he disappointed me as well. But after my aunt passed away, that's when I moved with my dad. My brother, sister, and I moved with our dad. But within the first 2 months, my sister left because she felt like she wasn't getting treated fairly. It's actually the other way around. Before, she was getting spoiled, and we weren't getting treated fairly. My brother and I weren't getting treated fairly, and we're like, yo, we want to be treated fairly as well. So then when he started to treat us fairly, she wasn't liking that, and then that's when she upped and left, and was like, okay. So, yeah, I moved to Mississauga. I lived there for, 4 years? Yeah, it was 4 years. Now, he wasn't the greatest influence, and he never really tried to get to know me, and I tried to get to know him, but it wasn't happening. The two and two were not connecting. I don't know why. The most I could say was always high, buy, and clean. That was it, all the time. It was always high, buy, and clean, because you always go to work, and you come back, and then watch his news, and then on a Saturday, first thing in the morning, clean. So, I learned a little something from him. Clean. It's good. It's really good. It's helping out now. So eventually, during the 4th year when I was living with him, my brother and him got into this huge argument, and you never believe what the argument happened through him not. I'm not supposed to be saying this, but it's just a little thing. He didn't use my stepsister's bounce. You know, the bounce where you just put in the dryer and just let your clothes smell nice. Yeah, he did. He didn't use my stepsister's bounce, and then they got into an argument about it and everything because he wanted the clothes to smell fresh. I'm like, well, you don't have any. So, yeah. So then after that, after they got into a huge argument and everything, that's when my brother was like, I'm leaving, and he said that he's going to be living in my oldest sister's house. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm moving with you because honestly, I'm not about separation. It's already bad enough that our sister left us ever since our mom left, you know, and it's already bad that you're trying to leave and you're trying to leave me alone. I'm like, I'm not trying to leave. I'm not trying to be by myself. I'm coming with you. And that's what happened. We moved. Life is a challenge. Challenges in your life are meant to help you grow. Now, after living with him, and I ended up moving to a priority neighborhood called Chester Lee. Yes, that was me. I look like a 10-year-old. That was me. I moved to Chester Lee, and now I'm going to explain how I got the nickname Cookie. So, when I was a little kid, it's too bad we didn't have a picture of this. Excuse me. When I was a little kid, I was really chubby, and I had these chubby little cheeks. And everyone called me Pillsbury Doughboy because if you tickle me, I'll go, you know? I make those little noises, you know? So they're like, yo, this guy's gonna be Pillsbury Doughboy and everything. So 2 weeks after I moved into Chester Lee, that's when I had like a freestyle battle against my brother. My brother was actually really, really good at freestyling. He actually worked with like Sean Claire, Cardinal Official, Socrates, Julie Black. He actually worked with those guys and everything. He showed me videos to prove it. So then after we're in this rap battle, I'm like, I'm better than you, north and south and east and west, you can't beat this because I am the best. And then everyone's like, oh! But literally, that would be my one-hit punchline. Other than that, I made no sense. Everything I said, it didn't even rhyme, it didn't even go to connected, it was just not good. And he came out, I only remember like the second half, he was like, yo, something, that's why we call you Pillsbury, we put you in the oven, now we call you Cookie. And then everyone's like, oh! It's like, this guy called you Cookie. Like, yeah, you know what? Cookie the Rookie, because you suck at freestyling too. And I was just like, oh, okay, you know, Cookie the Rookie, true. I'm liking this. And after when they called me Cookie the Rookie, about a month later, I don't know where the fat went and left. It left me for good. I eat so much and I still don't get big. I don't know why. It's like I literally got baked in the oven. So, I'm a flat cookie. Really am. Okay, so now living in the neighborhood, like the police really didn't like the youth. They would like try to investigate or spectate and say we'd be sitting down in the backyard just chilling, and then the police officer would come and like, oh, what's going on here, you guys? How you guys doing? What, you dropped something over there? Like, we didn't drop nothing. We were just chilling, you know? And they would really like bother us. And one day, it was like a month or two later, you know, Kevin and Cleon, I know a couple of you guys know those guys. Kevin and Cleon came to my door and they're like, yo, man, you gotta come to this thing on Fridays. It's sick, we get to play basketball, we get to eat snacks and everything. I was just like, I'm not going to no thing on Friday, it's not happening. I'm like, no. Then they asked me again, yo, Cookie, yo, come. I'm like, it's not happening. I didn't even know anything. I didn't even know I was at a church or anything. I just was not feeling it. And then he asked me the third time, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go. So then I come here to Bridal Grove, and I was like, oh, it's a church. True? I was like, start playing basketball, you know. Yeah, and pretty much, it got to me because I'm like, first of all, you guys are playing basketball here. Don't get the opportunity to play basketball indoors in the neighborhood like Chester Lee all the time. Second of all, they're feeding you snacks? What? Haley had my stomach weak with all those snacks. Then, on top of that, we had to go all upstairs and then we're listening to Sean preaching a message. And then all of a sudden, Sean would come up with like freestyling the Bible and everything. And I was just like, yo, this guy knows how to rap. I'm like, this is crazy. And after that, yo, I was sold. I was just like coming here on a weekly. All these guys started coming here. We started getting a lot more people to come here. And Sean started getting more people. It was crazy. And yeah, I went way past my cue cards. So then after that, like Sean started doing, he started bringing guest speakers to the Friday nights and everything, and bringing us to church events, and we really started getting into it. You know, we really started just learning more about the Bible. And then after that, he did a level system. He's like, okay, if you come to church for 2 months, you're gonna be at level 2. Level 2 means that you could come to our house to have lunch. We're like, yeah, I'm there. And started working our way. He's like, all right, level 3, if you come to church for half a year, that means you get to go to other people's house and have lunch. And everyone's like, oh yeah. And we would literally, he would come, he would pick us up in the morning and bring us to church and everything. And he really impacted a lot of our lives, like touched our hearts personally, you know. We went, I would say for the youth, our time of doing bad things, it cut down like drastically. I don't know what it was. I believe you guys were praying for us as well, because the way how it went like zoom to zoom, it was crazy, and it was such a blessing. I want to thank Bright Grove people for your prayers. Honestly, you guys, thank you. I say that because like when you pray, you gotta look at it like this. Things happen one step at a time. Things happen in due time. It happens on God's time. When you say, I want to build a house, you're not gonna go, I'm gonna build a house. Boom, house is there. No, that doesn't happen. A house gets made one brick at a time. And after building, after so many times of all these things, and you're packing all these bricks, you eventually build the house. And that's what your prayers did in my life, so I really appreciate that. So, I would have to say thank you to Sean and Haley, because you guys were like my first spiritual parents, you know? Spiritual parents, so yeah, thank you. Just, yeah, you know, having a mother and a father, you know, like, you guys just never, I can't even, you know? You know when you have something in your heart, you want to say it, and you don't even know how to say it? That's exactly what's going on right here. So, after Sean moved to another neighborhood, me and the other youth, we didn't know what to do, so then we got back into trouble again. That was not the trouble. That was when we went to the concert. That was an amazing time. But yeah, we started getting back into trouble again. But that slowly stopped for me because my oldest sister, didn't want to live in the neighborhood anymore because it's just getting violent and everything. So then that's when we moved. We moved from Chester to St. Catharines. Yes, my St. Catharines people over there. Yeah. Yeah. After living in Chesterlee, I learned family love. And I'm very grateful for that. Family love in the church, family love in the neighborhood. Because believe it or not, you know, when we're in the neighborhood, it's not like all bad as the news supposed it to be. We actually, everyone comes together as a family, everyone helps out each other as a family, everyone goes through a struggle as a family. So that's how we're all connected, and everyone moves in love as a family, you know? And no one doesn't really hear that side of the story. But life is a challenge. It takes a special effort to overcome challenges and obstacles. Now, I know for a fact, no, I'm moving forward. I'm just gonna briefly explain the next couple of parts, because I don't want to take too much time. So when I moved to St. Catharines, I was the big time dancer, and everyone knew me. Everyone in the city knew me as Cookie the dancer, Cookie Monster the dancer. So that was my thing. But eventually that turned into me becoming a Don. If anyone knows what a Don is, like I was like a godfather in St. Catharines. Yeah, it was like that. And then eventually that influenced me to becoming a drinker, a smoker, and also a dealer. Yes, I was a drug dealer. I turned into a drug dealer, I turned into these things, and I was doing a lot of things with other people because I loved the power at the time, and I don't know, it was something new. Everything that I learned, I took it and I wanted to be practical about it, you know? I wasn't really getting that guidance because I'm far away in the city. Everyone that I knew was far away and it was too hard to call anyone. Wasn't getting none of that. So I had to do my own type of guidance, and that's when I slipped. I did a little exploring. Now, I did stay connected with Sean and Haley, and anytime I did visit Toronto, I would go to their house. And I remember one time Sean blessed me with the Evidence Bible. Now, the Evidence Bible was the biggest deal, especially in my life. Oh, because when you get to level 3, you get Evidence Bible, but it's like the small version. But when you're at level 6, you get the big Bible. And that was the only Bible. And I was like, when I was here, I was determined to get that big Bible. So determined. I moved up from level 1 to level 4 in no time. Well, not no time. It did take some time, but it was just all, you know? I was just diligent. Let's just say that I was diligent. But when I came and he gave me the Bible, I was just like, my heart was overjoyed. And that was the Bible that you saw when that picture, if you guys saw the picture a while back, that Bible. Everyone wanted that Bible, but I really wanted it. And that was like, I don't know how to say it. That was like a prophecy of me holding that Bible, that I was going to have that Bible. Because I didn't even have that Bible at that time. I was just holding it because I really liked it. So that was prophesying in my life. So after having that Bible, I think it was like 3 months later, that's when I started to get like, no. There's something that happened before that. So a couple of months later, after like visiting back and forth with Sean, I went to this next church called Rhema, and that's in Downsview area. And my godbrother was the one who invited me to that church. And when I went to that church, you know, I was just like, I wasn't too open. I was just like, you know, I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was like, But then like the gracefully aged people, you guys are like, Jesus, and then after that, like, it got to me, and I was just looking, and they're looking at me, they're like, Jesus, and I was like, oh, and then I just started opening up, and I started dancing with them and everything, I had a great time, and then all of a sudden they started playing worship music, and when they got to the worship music, I don't know what happened, but I started crying, and I was kind of like, oh, like, yo, what's going on? I'm like, what's these tears? I'm like, mans don't cry, stay strong. And I couldn't stay strong, it was just the Holy Spirit moving in me, you know? And they brought me up to the altar and they prayed for me and everything. And that was the most craziest experience I ever had. And I was just like, I never knew that could happen. The Holy Spirit's real, really real. So I believe you guys are still praying for me at that time as well. Because I remember Sean kept on updating me, you know, and I was just blessed. About 3 months later, after that experience, that's when I was like, okay, you know what? I looked at the Evidence Bible, I'm like, I gotta read you. There's something about you I just don't know. I can't put my finger on, but I'm just gonna read you to find out. And I read like Psalms, I got in there, and then I read Matthew, and as soon as I got to Mark, I was like, wait a second, sounds like the exact same thing I just read. And I flipped back, I'm like, this is the exact same thing. I'm like, is the whole New Testament just the same thing? I didn't understand, but it was just like, I really didn't understand the Bible, but I was very diligent of reading it because I'm like, I want God to move in my life because there's just something going on. So, although I didn't understand it, and although I kept reading it, I eventually, I guess it was like a preparation for what was about to take place. So that's Sean, I think if you go back one, that's when I graduated. I graduated from Dennis Morris High School, and after I graduated, I moved from my sister's house to my third oldest sister's house, and I became, chef. That was Chef Cookie. Yeah, my dream was to have my own TV show. Hey, you can't do that yet. My dream was to have my own TV show. The TV show would have been called Cookies Cooking. And pretty much in the show, I'll be cooking regular, like any regular TV host, and I'm like, yo, I'm feeling something. I think it's break it down time. Lights will go dimming down, flashing, and I'll be cooking and dancing at the same time, so I'll be like, yeah, so I was just like really thinking I could have my own dancing TV show. So that was my dream. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to culinary school and do that. Yeah, and then I got into bad influences as soon as I got to college. But, thank God. But as I was going through these bad influences, I think it was like one night, it was just like a frat party night or a school party, whatever. I don't know what they call it. But yeah, I don't associate with those things anymore. So I went into a party, I drank and whatnot. I wasn't like drunk as per se, I was just tipsy. And I went to like the GO station, I caught like a 12 o'clock bus at night, and I went to sleep. It felt like 5 minutes, literally felt like 5 minutes. I woke up, talked to the bus driver, I'm like, hey, where am I? He's like, you're in Newmarket. I'm like, Newmarket? I'm like, okay, is there another bus going back? He's like, no, this is the only bus of the night. And I was just like, oh my gosh. It's well 2 o'clock at night, and I'm trying to get home. It took me about an hour, but I got like halfway back, and then my sister picked me up. It was a good thing I lived in Maple, not Toronto. And after 3 o'clock, like she picked me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was just like, okay, I can't keep living my life like this. And then that's when something inside me said, why don't you go back to that church that you've been to last year? And I was just like, okay, wait a second, what is that? I'm like, okay, God, if that's you, and I go back to this church, and I'm not singing and dancing with the gracefully aged people like at last time, I'm never going to church for the rest of my life. I don't care what you say. I'm never going to church for the rest of my life. That's just it. That was like my covenant with God. I went back to the church, and yeah, I was singing and dancing just like the first time, and it was really good. So, after that, that's when I started to just stay in the church. I started to learn more about the Word. I started to be diligent in the Bible. I started memorizing scriptures because it was a competition, and I'm always a person who does things diligently, so I want to be the best. And I memorized those scriptures. Little did I know those scriptures actually impacted and helped my life to a great extent. So, second semester came. It's January now. And I chose the hardest teacher because I think I was gassed. And by gassed, I mean I was pretty much like full of myself. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be so successful, this teacher can't say nothing. The teacher, first semester, he literally had 30 students. He got 16 out of 30 to drop out of school. That's how hard he was. And I was just like, I'm gonna take this guy. I don't know, what was I thinking? The first month I felt like crying every single class. I literally felt like crying with tears, but I couldn't because that whole, I'm a man, I can't cry, don't shed tears. It's still there, that pride. And literally, people would motivate me with their words, and it was just like, yeah, thank you. And then I'll go to class, he'll shut me down. I'm just like, oh man, I feel horrible. So I think it was like February now. I'm just like, you know what? What if I just, before I go to every class, I just pray to Jesus? I wonder what will happen. I literally did that. And when I did that for the whole month of February, my teacher looked at me differently. He said good things about my meals. He started giving me good marks. I was just like, oh my gosh, if all I had to do was just pray to Jesus to pass class, I should have been doing this from before. Yeah. Okay, but until I got baptized. After I got baptized, March 6th, first Sunday, that's first Sunday of March, that's when it was just like, everything just flipped again. He started saying bad things about me, he started giving me bad marks, and it wasn't that I wasn't a bad chef, to tell you guys the honest truth. I wasn't a bad chef. I was a really good chef, and I was diligent with the things I was doing. We had a supply teacher. The supply teacher gave me a 75% on a dish that I made, and I was just like, this is what I do all the time, and you're telling me now, he's giving me 75, and my teacher's giving me like 60s. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So, pretty much, I just want to say this one thing because, okay, so pretty much like this teacher, he almost failed me. I thought I failed by 1%. I actually passed the class by 1%, and yeah, I graduated. Yeah, by God's grace. He said to me, I went up to him like, hey, I passed, I thought I failed. He's like, oh yeah, you passed. He said, because you got this mark from a supply teacher that you shouldn't have got. I tried to take it out the system, but the system wouldn't let me. I'm like, this guy said that to me in my face. He said that he wanted to take the mark out of the system, but the system wouldn't let him. That was God moving. No, he didn't know that. But yeah, I just want to say this. Throughout my life has challenges. I will say this, from the moment I was a child, to the time I was a teenager, to the time I became an adult and everything, I always pushed. I always prayed until something happened. Now, I live in this apartment. By God's grace, I help out. I meet so many new people. I help out with the organizing of the food and the food bank. I help out with organizing with the materials that we have there, the Bibles with different languages, the kids' artwork, the kids' stuff. Also, there's different books for people to read and everything, and there's also clothing, and I help organize these things. I always diligent. I get help from Haley and sometimes other friends, and it's just a blessing, you know. But I have to say that God is just moving, you know. He's moving the Jesus Network from where they were to where they are now. It's just a blessing, and it's all because of you guys and your support and your love. Especially your love, your prayers, especially your prayers, and your commitment, you know, to just carrying Jesus Network out and being able to take part of it is such a blessing. And I just want to thank all of you guys for being here tonight, all of you guys for taking your time out of your life to be here, and I just pray and release a 100-fold blessing on all of you, because you guys are just a blessing in many people's lives, including mine, and it means a lot, and I just want to thank you so much. So give a round of applause for yourselves. So I'll just end off with two things, really quick. Now the foundation that I stand on is Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6, which is, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. That's the foundation that I stand on, and that's the foundation that I walk on, and I thank God that he uses people and he uses his word to be able to help minister unto me. I'll leave you with this note. I always make quotes. I always make quotes all the time because I really want to impact the world. I want to be able to reach out to billions of people, not millions, billions of people, and by God's grace, I will. Challenges are like opportunity. They come and go, but help better your soul. That's what challenges do. I'm a man of God today, and I thank God for all the challenges that he continually gives in my life and puts in my life. And I just pray, my prayer is that I hope, you know, you guys can pray for me to just be able to ask God to help strengthen me to be able to go through the next challenges to come and the challenges to come. And I'll definitely keep you guys in my prayer as well. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your blessing.